What's going on, everybody? This is Ed Talks, and this is going to be the start of my new series, The Road to the Release of Studio Series. So, The Road to Studio Series. And we're going to start with one of the figures that I have in front of me right now, and this is Takara Legends Cup. So, this is their take on their version of Cup from the Titans Return line. And from what we can see, this is probably my favorite cup. Now, I know that a lot of people are waiting for Studio 86 and it's going to look awesome and everything's going to be like the bestest in sliced bread. But the only problem that I have with that cup is some things are not quite right for my liking. I'm not saying it's bad, it's actually good, but I think this one actually is better. And I'll make a small case. The big case will come when I actually get the figure in hand. But I really always wanted to do a review of this toy anyway, because I really do think this is a great toy. It has flaws, of course it does. But for what Takara Tomy did to make it look more like Cup, it's kind of IDW-ish a bit, but it really looks good and it cleans up well. And yes, we're going to do the transformation. But all that aside, this is Cup. Now, Cup is a headmaster in this series, and we're going to just take the head off first, because let's look at the head. And as you can see there, this is one of the best head sculpts that they've ever done. Like, this is really a good head sculpt. I mean, let's face it, it really does look good. I mean, they did a good job on this. You might not like it or not. That's my focus will work. Okay, so focus doesn't want to work today. But anyway, I'll go back a little bit and you can see it there, and this focusing is off today. There we go. There it is. There it is. And let's turn him into the robot. And he's really simple. They didn't really do like a whole bunch of paint on him or anything like that. I mean, you know, it's clean, but for the most part, man, the head sculpt is fantastic, and that's part of the reason why I have this figure. I mean, the Legends version, I mean, not the Legends, the Titan Return version just did not do it for me. But don't get me wrong, it's very G1 toy accurate. But this takes it up a notch, and it also gives you a head Target Master. Now, I do want to tell you a few things about the Target Masters that came in the Legends line. They are a little more fragile, a little more, the word I want to use is, it's a high quality plastic, and it uses a lot of small parts. And because it uses a lot of small parts, the only problem that I have with it is that you do have to be careful with these. You know, they're almost like, you know, of a high quality. So you might, a higher quality actually than the ones that come in the Siege line. Because the ones that come in the Siege line, they're very simple, very plastic. You know, they almost feel kind of knockoff-ish a bit. Whereas these, you know, are more, you know, what they're supposed to be and everything like that. I mean, like, they feel more, like, nicer. They don't feel that weird, you know, cheap plasticky feeling that the other ones have. And so when you get, if you decide to get one of these, because a lot of people are probably going to skip on this. I mean, you know, you're probably going to notice the difference right off the bat. And they are a bit smaller. And the details are really painted well. And this, of course, is my man, Recoil. And we're going to transform him real quick. And as you can see, you start this way. And so you can see he's already got his arms loose. And what you want to do is just turn the body around. And then when you turn the body around, now if you see these little, that stuff right there, that's because on mine, when I first got him, the Target Master would never fit in his hand right. So I actually had to use a little bit of nail polish to kind of give it a little grip. Back to what I was saying. So you turn them like this. And you have to turn the legs. Then when you turn the legs, you're going to flip this back. And you got the Target Master. And the Target Master, like I said, they are a lot, not as they're smaller and more detailed. Like I said, more intricate, and you can see that there. I mean, they have way more details than the ones that come in the Siege line, and you'll notice that like right off the bat. I mean, that it has that, that look. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, let's get a better look at it here. And I mean, you can see the differences just alone in how it looks. I don't have any of my. I think I only got like one Target Master, and I got 3 of them. I just never took them out the box, but I got one because I never got the Legends version of Trigger Happy. I just yeah, no. But the other 2, I do have the Legends version of Misfire and Slugslinger. And you definitely want, if you could pick up Misfire, oh my gosh, you're gonna spend an arm and a leg on that. He is very sought after on the market on both ends. Even if you get the Titans Return version, he might cost you upwards of over $100 now. I'm going to do a review of that in probably a couple of days. So we're going to put this back to the side, and we're going to take a little bit more of a look at Cup and the details. Now, the one thing I want to say about Cup that I like, is the fact that he has a very clean look. And that's one of the things that kind of, I mean, I get what they're going for in Studio 86. But I mean, you can see from the side profile, like, I mean, that right there tells you, like, look how clean that is. And then he turns into a truck. I mean, just think about that for a second, He actually turns into a truck. And from the back, and that's usually where I store the Target Master. I kind of store them on the back, kind of like a little back thingy there. And then after that, I'm going to turn him back to the front. And I mean, it's a pretty good looking figure. I mean, just hands down, you can't deny that. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, this is really awesome, And personally, I kind of like him. He's just my Cup. The only thing that sucks is the legs. Like, the legs are weird. Like, he almost like he's. And there's not a lot of pivots, so it's still the old style, But he does make up for it, his articulation. Like I said, I did have to strengthen the joints, and I still got to do a little bit of cleaning on that. But, he's got the decent articulation. He can do that. Leg kicks out to here. Leg kicks out to here. And you can still do the whole, I want to take the leg off. It's still on a ball joint. The arms, they do that. They go up. They kind of go up a little bit. So you can do some poses. And, if he wants to, like, he's squaring up, his arm does do a double joint, but that's because of part of the transformation. And like I said, he's very clean. It's part of the reason why I'm not him up, So let's do a little bit of comparisons. Now, he's a lot bigger than, let's say, a Earthrise Siege Deluxe. Titans Return had some pretty, they were pretty sizable on their deluxe sizes. As you can see it right here, he's towering over him, and pretty much he's the same size as Blur. Like I said, I got to run and get Blur, but I don't know where he is right now. But when I get Blur, I'll do a video on him. And of course, we got a Voyager here that we're going to roll out of the corner because I don't really use him. He's a leader class, but I prefer to say that he is a Voyager, and this is Double Dealer, aka Master Force. if you know Master Force. And of course, he's got a substantial amount of plastic there, but I mean, all in all, I mean, he fits well. He is kind of tall, even in the cartoon. So he would, even if I don't have a smokescreen in the A stance, let's just say I take him out of an A stance. I mean, he pretty much does, he's still sizable in height. So, I mean, here's comparisons that you need. And I need to review him one day. I know I got to do him one day. He's still my favorite. He's my favorite Double Dealer. Hands down. Let's get him out the way. And we're going to go back to YouTube Magic and do the transformation. Okay, and we're back by YouTube Magic. And I had to transform him off screen because I have issues every time I try to transform him. So I'm sorry. I'm just going to leave that sequence out. And plus my battery is pretty much about to say no to making videos. But we're going to move on. So now if you see here, we got Cup in his little headmaster along with Recoil standing on the side of the vehicle mode of Cup. So we're going to show off the vehicle mode for just a few moments here. And as you can see, it's got the wheels from the side. I don't have the issue with it being installed wrong. And if I do, please let me know, subscribers, if there's any fixes that I need to make. I didn't think I had to. As you can see here, a lot of people complained about the vehicle mode as far as this part, because I understand with the Titans Return version, because his shoulder was square, it kind of just fell in place. But, you know, because they rounded out the shoulders, he's got a little more gaps there, which don't bother me too much because this is expected for Titans Return. This is still one of their better toys. And this is him from the front and from the side. There's the Autobot logo from the side. It's got the clear blue window again from the other side. And in the bottom, you know, it's kind of gappy. You know, gaps are us. And a lot of everything clips in here, and all this unfolds from just the legs and feet. That's what's amazing about this figure. But overall, in vehicle mode, they are pretty much identical to the Titans Return version. As far as the Studio 86 version, no, it ain't even close. Studio 86 version, hands down, is, you know, the bed is longer. This is just like a little shorter when you fold everything out. That's what's interesting about this toy. It's just the way that this thing transforms is one of the things that I like. And, you know, you got to learn it because I rarely transform, but it's interesting, to say the least. But you ain't putting nobody on here. Like, you ain't going to be putting nothing on the back. He kind of remind me like an El Camino in the future. But he's got these little hole ports. And you can put him right there. You know, you can kind of look like he putting stuff on here. Or you could put him here. And again, you know, he can stand because of the little ports there. Now, for the Target Master, well, that's where things get kind of crazy. So let's go ahead and drop him inside real quick. And I want to let you know ahead of time, I don't have much to compare with. So what I bring out is what I'm going to compare him to. So I'm sorry. I've got a phone. I got 2 phones I'm working on, 3 phones I'm working on. Just, you know, like I said, if you saw my last video, I just bought a Note 20 Ultra 5G. I got to reset that. I got an iPhone to give to my daughter. I got to reset, and then I got to take the iPhone that she used to have, because I'm going to use that for trading value for a new iPhone, and I had to reset that. So there's a lot of resetting I got to do today, and I need a working phone. So once you got him in there, you can kind of put him there. But wait, and sometimes that happens. It comes apart. But what about this guy here, Recoil? Where he going? I mean, if he was just like kind of like a gunner and just coming this way, he could probably gun at people, you know, I guess. But it's not you know what I'm saying? Like he's shooting from the back to the side, you know, to the other side. But in the front, nah, bro, you ain't shooting nobody in the front because you ain't got nowhere to put him. That was the oddball choice of making him a Target Master. It's still oddball, but you know, hey, it works. All right. So besides putting him on the back, I still think this is a fantastic truck mode. Hands down. It's not 100% Cup, but it is close. And adding the Target Master as well as the Headmaster gives you a little more playability. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. You know, hey, you can say he's loading stuff on. You know, he's got him here. He could be a gunner, and they're like coming in and just kind of like, you know, doing an attack, you know, trying to save the Autobots from the Decepticons or something like that. You know, your imagination is your choice. But overall, it's decent, and I have no complaints. So we'll go to the final thoughts, and through YouTube magic, we will edit. Oh, you thought I forgot? Yeah, I told you, comparison to this guy, Skywarp, because he's just available, and I keep him in this mode because I love Tetrajets. And this is really, again, another toy that folds up and gets compact a bit. But he's pretty much the same size. He's gonna be the same size as any deluxe from all of the lines. There's when I say that, I'm talking more or less Titans Return, Legends, Siege, Earthrise and Future Kingdom. He's pretty much going to be the same size as them. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to have something vastly different or out of place. And of course, when we get Studio 86, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to scale. They're going to scale with each other. So you shouldn't have any worries there. But just to do a comparison, because some people we didn't do a comparison. This is all I got in vehicle mode. Now we'll go to the final thoughts. All right, and my final thoughts. Well, these two work for me. And of course, I don't know if I'll actually replace him with the Studio 86 Cup. But one thing I do know is I'm still getting the Studio 86 Cup, without a doubt. I think it's still a fantastic figure because of the look it's going to give. It's going to be very G1. But my collection is very targeted. I put on the shelf what I like to fit in. And this may still sit there. Is there room for both? Yeah, there's always room for both. Because I still want that cup. But I just think on what I've seen, with the backpack and how the arms and everything associate, this one just looks better to me. And you might agree or disagree. And, some people will say, well, I don't agree with your sentiment. Well, you have every right to. What I'm saying is preference. I just like this cup. Doesn't mean I'm not going to like Studio 86. I know I'm going to like Studio 86 Cup because he's going to look more like that old grizzled guy. But this one, I don't know. I really do like what Takara did. They did an excellent job of a retooling of a figure. And just by doing these extra retooling, especially with the shoulders, if I forgot to mention that the shoulders were also retooled more rounded. They did the best they could with the whole arms. The whole arm's been remolded. Everything else is really just paint job, and the head is remolded. But that head sculpt is really what set this toy off. And the fact that, like I said, it's just so clean all the way around that if you do get one, like I said, it's going to be room for both. And he will be in the video, of course, as a comparison once we get our hands on the Studio 86. So I still love this cup. I still think it's a great cup. I'm still going to give him a 9 out of 10. Transformation, it's a little scary, but that's it. Other than that, this cup is just as good. And of course, Studio 86 is just going to probably be icing on the cake. But for me, this is the one I like. So this is Ed Talks. Tell me your thoughts and opinions on what you think about the new Studio 86 Cup, or what you think about Legends Cup, or even if you want to talk about Titans Return Cup. Some people actually like that cup. So, hey, I appreciate you watching the video, and you have a great evening, day,